This week finds me in the role of artist assistants at the Des Moines Arts Festival in Des Moines, Iowa. One of the premier shows in the country, beautiful setting, looking down the street to the gold dome of the Capitol, also bordering on the sculpture parks. Stephen King, his staff and volunteers do just an outstanding job. It's always good to be here and have such great neighbors. This week, Bryan David Griffith. Here's the man from, we're going to get it on the sign here, Flagstaff, Arizona. If I hold really steady, I wonder if you can get that scan. I doubt it. That was a futile attempt. Anyway, here you are. Bryan, it is so great to see you again. It's great to see everybody again. But it's been a while since you've been on the road. I mean, even longer than the rest of us, right?
Yeah, I haven't done any shows since 2018, and even really I kind of took some time off, really starting in 2015 and 2016.
Well, I've always been absolutely amazed with your work and all of the different projects that you've worked on over the years. And there's no way we're going to do it justice today. We can talk about the body of work you have going here, but if you get a chance, you really have to check out his website and his story at bryandavidgriffith.com, correct?
You got it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to see there. There's a lot to learn. And you ended up in Flagstaff. How'd that work out because your band broke?
Yeah, at the time I had, I believe it was kind of like a year and a half into doing shows. I didn't study art, I studied engineering, like many of us in the art festival circuit, and found my way to art in a meandering way. And I resigned from the consulting job I had because I had environmental disagreements with a lot of my clients. And I thought I'd make a living as an artist. I grew up I went to school in Ann Arbor and saw the Ann Arbor Art Fair. I had a client in St. Louis, saw the St. Louis Art Fair, so I thought that was kind of typical for art fairs. And
the bar was raised high.
Right, yeah. In some ways, I think my naivete helped me become an artist. If I knew how hard it was, I might not have tried.
That's exactly the case.
And
with
if I gone to art
people.
school, they would have told me, you had to teach or something like that, or do commercial work.
You can't do this. But here you are. And you've always had, anyway, the work I'm familiar with. I know you've had some different documentary type things with the bookstores and all that stuff, photography, but the work I'm most familiar with, there's always been just an incredible environmental tie-in with the wood and the burning and the fires, and there are different things you've done with that. Now, these pieces, just to give you folks a glimpse of how deep this guy goes, just explain what's happening here with how this is created.
Right. So my work is in response to environmental issues and landscapes that I visit. So this is one that's near my home. It was a property that was, we had a big zoning fight over it for development, but it's a beautiful meadow and woods area where I hike a lot. So this is, these are leaves here of geraniums and lupins and other flowers.
That are collected
that grow
from
there.
that
So I
site.
collected the leaves, from the site, and then I came back later and collected the blossoms from those same plants. And then I made, over time, a cyanotype, which is a 19th century photographic process. It's really blue, like a blueprint, to get some of these shapes. And then I also gathered plants from the site to tone the cyanotype and take it in different colors that will react with that, as well as natural dyes.
So the pigmentation and the coloring in the pieces were also sourced and developed from that same
That's
site,
correct.
right?
So each, and the wood also
juniper?
comes from there. Yeah, so juniper, ponderosa, this one is juniper. So the idea is I visit a site, I gather shapes and forms from the site, but also dyes and pigments to make my work from the site. So it's very much, the piece, the story, or the place that it's representing, it's also made physically from materials that grow on that same
That
site.
is just so cool, and what a journey. And I mean, you have this that's a pretty bold, a little more obvious floral type things you can see that were collected from the site. But then you get over to some of the other pieces, and they're much more subtle. I mean, when you really get in on them, You can
that
see
one
the
is,
details.
Is walnut dyes and an oak bark and leaves and rust.
And then down below?
Yeah, walnut dye primarily. Wildfire charcoal is mainly what's in that one. You know, I do use a little bit of acrylic to get the white paint and kind of seal things in at the end. This one here over here is just, there's no cyanotype or any photographic chemistry. This is my own technique of using walnut dye itself, which isn't, you know, isn't photographic, but by controlling the drying rate, I can get a sort of a photographic image out of it.
It's just, I mean, you can just start seeing more and more as you take this art in, and it's been so fun to see you through the years, the evolution. And you know, when we rolled up the tent on Friday and saw you here, I was like, wow, the long lost soul.
Yeah,
it's so great to have you back.
Yeah, it's nice to see folks again.
Yeah.
Be on the road, and you never know what I'm going to bring next. So it's always exciting. I never know. You know, usually I come up with something totally new, and I do some shows with it, and sometimes it sells, sometimes it doesn't, and I show up with something different the next season.
Do you have something already? I mean, I imagine you're going to continue fleshing this out a bit, but do you have any new things in the works that you want to give us, just a teaser?
I do. I have two big things coming up. I have a solo exhibit at the Coconino Center for the Arts in Flagstaff.
Okay.
So I'm going to be using these on-site cyanotypes with landscapes that are there in my local community. And then I have a solo exhibition happening October through January at the High Desert Museum in Bend, Oregon.
All right.
And that's going to be installations. Everything in that show is going to be created using fire, whether it's salvaging materials from fire sites or you burning wood to make a sculpture.
And some of the pieces I have seen that you've done along in that vein have just been really fascinating. Pretty dramatic, really emotional in many ways.
Yeah.
And so if you're in that part of the country, see if you can check it out. So, I mean, clearly we've just scratched the surface here, but it's a great surface to keep digging on. And honestly, check out his website because it's a great story. And in the meantime, it's good to be back out on the road. Look, we're just kind of finishing up here, and it's been pretty good for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, we actually sold a few pieces, which is all I need, so it's great. Yeah, and to see how people respond to the work.
It's awesome. Well, let's see. I got to get a picture with my buddy here if I can. I'll just spin it this way. Hey, there we are.
All right.
Good to see you, Bryan.
Yeah, good to see you again.
Happy
Jay.
trails, and keep working. Bye, buddy.
You too.